What if the United States decided to strike Iran's power grid? And why would it even consider such a move? In this scenario, the objective is clear. Apply pressure on Iran to keep the Strait of Hormuz open by targeting key energy infrastructure. To do that, three primary facilities come into focus. The most critical among them is the Damavand power plant, followed by the Salimi facility, along with several major hydroelectric stations. But executing this kind of operation comes with a serious logistical challenge. Most of these power plants are located deep in northern Iran, far from easy reach. To access these targets, the U.S. would likely deploy long-range heavy bombers from bases such as Cyprus, covering vast distances to reach their objectives. At the same time, the B-52 Stratofortress would provide overwhelming firepower, capable of releasing dozens of precision-guided munitions in a single pass, enough to devastate large sections of critical infrastructure. The broader strategy is aggressive and calculated, systematically disrupting Iran's power grid to force strategic concessions. To understand how such an operation would unfold, we need to examine the target list in detail. Target 1 is the Damavand combined cycle power plant located in Tehran province, one of the largest in the country, producing massive power output. This facility serves as the backbone of Iran's energy network. Taking it offline wouldn't cause minor disruptions. It could trigger widespread outages across the capital region. Target 2, the Shahid Salimi power plant in Mazandaran province. Situated right on the Caspian Sea coast, this thermal plant produces over 2,200 megawatts. Target 3 is the Shahid Regi plant in Kasbin province, generating over 2,000 megawatts. Taking this facility out would paralyze the critical industrial sector of northern Iran. There are other massive assets, but they come with heavy collateral risks. Hydroelectric dams in Khuzestan province, like Shahed Abbaspur, generate huge amounts of power, but striking them carries the extreme risk of catastrophic civilian flooding. Then there's the Bushehr nuclear power plant on the Persian Gulf coast, Iran's sole operational civilian nuclear reactor. Striking it would risk deadly nuclear fallout and invite severe international condemnation. Here is exactly how that strike would happen in three distinct stages. This is stage 1. The blindfold begins before a single U.S. aircraft even crosses into Iranian airspace. Tomahawk cruise missiles are launched from the Arabian Sea. They skim dangerously close to the terrain, weaving through the valleys of the Zagros Mountains to blind Iran's early warning radar arrays. Simultaneously, F-35 Lightning slip undetected into contested airspace. Utilizing their advanced sensor fusion, they map out Iran's S-300 and indigenous Bavair 373 surface-to-air missile batteries. From safe standoff ranges, they launch AGM-88 anti-radiation missiles, hunting down the radar signals and destroying the air defense network from the inside out. Then comes stage 2, the penetration. With the air corridor temporarily sanitized, heavy stealth bombers like the B-2 Spirit make their silent approach towards Tehran province. They aren't carrying nuclear yields. Instead, they carry heavy payload packages specifically designed for surgical industrial destruction, like the JDAM weapon system, creating multiple explosions, as many as 80 of these in 60 seconds. Stage 3, the cascading failure. This is stage 3, the hit on Damavand. The objective isn't to level the entire 193-hectare compound. That's inefficient. The goal is to cause catastrophic mechanical failure to the hardest-to-replace components. Bombers drop 2,000-pound GBU-31 JDAM perfectly threaded through the roofs of the main turbine halls. The powerful blasts rip through the turbine generator shafts and destroy the external step-up transformers, forcing facilities like Damavand and secondary targets such as Neka offline. The sudden collapse in grid stability triggers automatic safety shutdowns across the entire Iranian power network. It results in a devastating cascading failure, plunging military command centers, industrial bases, and major cities into total darkness. Because the Shahid Salimi Neka plant sits far to the north, resting right on the edge of the Caspian Sea, reaching it requires piercing deep into Iranian airspace. This is where the U.S. Air Force would call in the B-1B Lancer. Swooping in over the Alborz mountain range, the B-1 would unleash a devastating rapid-fire sequence of 2,000-pound jandoms. The precision munitions would tear through the Neka plant's thermal generation infrastructure, crippling the 2,200-megawatt facility a matter of seconds before the bomber hits the afterburners and disappears back over the horizon. Further inland in Qazvin province, operating from safe high-altitude standoff ranges, the B-52 acts as a flying arsenal. Once the fighter jets from Cyprus and other regional bases have successfully suppressed any remaining surface-to-air missile threats, the B-52 would move into position. It would methodically drop a heavy, sustained payload of precision-guided bombs, systematically flattening the plant's massive cooling towers, transformer yards, and boiler houses. Not to forget, it can also carry up to 27 conventional bombs in its internal weapons bay. These can be Mark 82 dumb weapon, which can be dropped in succession on a large scale without any guidance system. But how do you hit an underground nuclear enrichment plant? The underground nuclear programs. The problem is, these aren't just buildings you can level. They are heavily fortified subterranean labyrinths buried deep beneath solid rock. Wait too long, and the enemy relocates its most critical assets, nuclear enrichment materials, into deeply fortified underground bunkers. In response, the military deploys specialized deep penetration weapons, massive bunker-busting munitions, engineered to punch through layers of earth before detonating inside the mountain. It's a precise yet devastating strike, designed to collapse these hidden facilities and set the program back by decades. By week 4, complete air superiority has been established. The massive bombing campaigns stop, and the hunting game begins. F-22s and F-15s take over, aggressively patrolling the entirety of Iranian airspace. They are kept continuously aloft by a steady rotation of flying tankers. It becomes a highly coordinated hunt. Targets are identified by Space Force satellites and Central Command, with the data fed straight to the fighters, usually directed by an E-2D Hawkeye command plane. The primary strategy here is to avoid a ground occupation entirely. Instead, US controls the battle space from above, striking from the air the absolute second a target exposes itself. They are specifically hunting for missile launchers, which are typically tucked away in hidden underground facilities. To keep the pressure on, MQ-9 Reaper drones patrol the skies 24/7. The moment the enemy rolls out a ballistic missile to attempt a launch, those Reapers are already waiting above, ready to wipe it out with Hellfire missiles. But why rely on 3 different types of strategic bombers? The B-1B Lancer, often referred to as the Bone, is a supersonic strike platform capable of carrying one of the heaviest payloads in the U.S. arsenal. It can surge in at high speed and low altitude, unleashing large volumes of cruise missiles or precision-guided munitions to open up the battlefield. And then there's the B-52 Stratofortress. Despite its age, it remains a highly effective platform. Acting as a long-range missile carrier, it can launch cruise missiles from hundreds of miles away, staying far beyond the reach of hostile air defenses. Now let's break down how this entire operation actually unfolds. The opening phase involves the B-2 stealth bomber slipping deep into contested airspace, targeting advanced surface-to-air missile sites, neutralizing them using its low observable capabilities. Following that, the B-1 Lancer moves in at extremely low altitude, striking older air defense assets in missile positions, further weakening the enemy's defensive network. Once those layers are degraded, conventional bombers like the B-52 Stratofortress can advance without significant resistance, delivering heavy strikes on critical infrastructure targets. This layered approach highlights why both stealth platforms and conventional bombers are essential, especially when the number of B-2 Spirit aircraft available remains limited. If you enjoyed deep military breakdowns and detailed strategic analysis like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video.